You're listening to The Dating Den with dating and relationship badass and best-selling author Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important dating, sex, and relationship issues you want to know about. So if you're ready for true talk that's authentic and unfiltered, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
The Dating Den, episode 22 with Lara Fernandez. Hey, where are they keeping the secret stash of quality men? Welcome, everyone, to the Dating Den. It's as if I were on a street corner herding you all into my show. So come on into the Dating Den. Today, you are going to love this interview because I have found a real live quality man for you to understand that they do exist on the planet Earth. But this just isn't any quality man, ladies. It is the one and the only Lara Fernandez. He works with his wife, Dr. Lara Fernandez. They've been married for a while. They've been working in the dating space for 12 years. And what they really do is help empower single conscious women like you through their relationships. And what I love about what he's going to talk about today is that when a woman like you owns your power and you speak your truth about who you are and your life, and you have really healthy beliefs and behaviors around your relationships, soulmate love is in the cards. It becomes your destiny. So I'm super excited because one of the things that I really hear when I'm out in the world talking to single women is you guys really believe that there are no quality men. I know that you're like, well, did I really say? But you do, because you tell me all the time, they're online, they're not there, and they're not smart, and they're not conscious, and they're not spiritual, and they don't say what they mean, and they just want to sleep with you. But that is bullshit, because that is not all men. And Johnny is here to teach us that men of quality do exist, and we're going to learn today in the Den how to attract your soulmate. So, Johnny, welcome to the Den.
Thank you so much for having me, Marni. I'm really happy to be here on the Dating Den.
We get crazy here in the Den. So
cool.
Are you ready for it?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just want to start off with this question. Because you've been in a relationship. How long have you and Lara been married or together?
We've been married 16 years, been together 17 years.
Damn, that's a long time. Like in modern day.
We're just getting warmed up here.
I know. It's almost like there's camps. There's like super freaking old people who've been married for like 80 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then there's like people our age, like I'm 50. Like people in our generation, like 17 years to be together is like a really long time.
Definitely.
Don't you think?
I'm in the same age as you. I'm 51. So yeah. It is, and I'm more in love with Lara now than I was when I married her, and I was head over heels in love, swooning, and can hardly think straight. So that's what is available for everyone, really. If you're listening now, that's available for you, and that's what we love and we appreciate. We share with our clients, we share with everyone in our community. Is that this is not like a unicorn experience. This is like something that you can have too.
I love that. It's not Johnny's not a unicorn. Hashtag. Let's hashtag that. Okay, so here's the thing. So why do you think that women end up with these beliefs that there are no quality men? I mean, obviously it comes from the fact that they're dating douchebags or that they are not meeting quality guys online. But like, why is that happening? And why are they literally not seeing the good guys?
Well, there's a lot that goes into that. But like, let's say there's all of the available men in your town there's 20 guys and they're in a room, and 15 of them are douchebags. They're the boys who are like man sized, but they're little boys. They don't have they don't have the drive. Whatever the thing is, they have commitment issues. 15 of the 20 are knuckleheads in one way or another. Then there's 3 guys that are like really good guys. Maybe you're a guy, maybe not, but really good guys. And then 2 that are just like the dream. So what is going to make the difference between you seeing and focusing on and dating and sleeping with those 15 guys versus the 3 versus the 2, which, let's point out, 2 is twice as many husbands as you're looking for.
Exactly.
Right? So there's an abundance of possible guys, and there's 2 dream guys, but it's 2 out of 20. Well, what's going to make that difference? Well, there's a lot of conditioning from way back in childhood. It gets reinforced in young adulthood. Like, we work with women that are over 30. So if you're in your 20s and you're looking to date, this is the time to really get a hold of like your beliefs and behaviors. But if you're over 30, you've done the whole dating, doing whatever in your 20s, the beliefs from childhood get reinforced in adulthood. And then when it comes time to get serious, what we see is that for most women, it's too low of a priority, and they are not used to putting time, attention, resources, energy into learning about themselves, how they tick, and their beliefs and behaviors around love, men, relationships. And so they, without thinking about it, they gravitate toward those 15 guys without realizing why they gravitate toward those 15 guys. And the reality is, you can change that first to go from, you don't even see those 15 guys. Right now, that could be all you see. But there's twice as many husbands or possible dream husbands as you want or need in that room. But the difference is, how much time, attention, energy, resources are you going to put into changing those conditioned beliefs about that draw you to those guys that are totally wrong for you? They could be great for somebody else, but they're totally wrong for you.
This is, okay, so here's the thing. I really want to sort of underscore this, is that there is this conditioned response. And if you keep doing it over and over and over again, you are basically more deeply embedding the same conditioned response, right? So what I hear you saying is, like, if there is no sort of like intentional intervention, so to speak, whether you're 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever, you're more than likely to keep seeing those same 50 guys, and the other 5 and maybe
Absolutely.
2 are like literally invisible.
Absolutely. And that's what I remember one woman saying to us, you mean there are invisible men out there? And I'm like, I know you're kind of saying that in a snotty, like, confronting way, but the reality is, yes, there are. They're invisible to you.
Yep.
And so when you change that, you start to see things differently. Now, I've done the research, as I'm sure you have as well. There are more women graduating from college, as one reference of like who's kind of, more of an intellectual person or something. That's just one measure of it. But more women are graduating college these days than men. And so women are starting businesses at a higher rate than men, and doing various things that might measure like, go-get-emness. But again, even if there's 15 guys that are just not in your league in any way, shape, or form, why are you going with them instead of the other 5 possibles? And why do those 2 that are the dream guy, you don't see them and they don't see you? We had one woman who worked with us and decided to make this a much higher priority. And she had a guy at work who she literally had been working with for years, and it didn't even register to her that he was a possible romantic interest for her. And as she worked with us, she realized it's because he's basically a 10. He doesn't see me as possible relationship material, and I don't see him, or I didn't. Anyway, she's now, she did raise her vibration, change her beliefs and behaviors, became attracted to him and attractive to him. They're now married, living happily ever after. But she just recognized, I didn't even see him. He's right there. We were working together for years, because that dude was all that and a bag of chips, the type of guy that you want to be with. But if you're not seeing him, it's, there's something to that.
Okay, this is huge. Okay, so listen, ladies. Like, what if literally the quality guys are like the tip of your nose? It's fully there. It's there, but you freaking can't see it. So, and first of all, I just have to say, you are speaking my language, because I dated the wrong guy over and over again, really until I decided to make it a priority. And for me, I was in my late 30s and I was divorced, and I had, been sleeping with and getting taken advantage of by the wrong guy. I let myself do that. And I have 3 daughters. And so I literally, like, if I couldn't do it for myself, I thought, well, shit, if I don't do this for myself, then I'm definitely going to screw up my daughters. I'm going to teach them the exact conditioned response, right? I'm going to teach them the same thing. So I couldn't make myself a priority, but my kids were a priority. And that was what made me change. So, ladies, this is really important about this priority thing. You have to make it a priority if you want to be able to see what's on the tip of your nose. So what gets in the way of most women from actually putting the time, attention, and resources in creating a reality where there is an abundance of quality men? What are the bullshit excuses that you see? And for anyone's listening, how can we help them to make this priority, or actually maybe determine if it's a priority? Maybe it's not.
Right. Yeah, determining if it's a priority is really important. But let's go from the macro to the micro really quickly. So we live in, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably live in a westernized country, US, Canada, whatever. You probably live in a westernized country. And a westernized country is generally a capitalistic and patriarchal country. So what does that mean? Things that are of value in this country are more patriarchal, meaning more what men value and more how men see the world. And so what does that mean? Well, one of the things that's really a beautiful thing about women, and you just spoke to it right there, Marni, about your kids, your caring about your kids, your love for your daughters, that quality, that value of relationships matter, which, by the way, is reinforced by all the research that shows that the number one determinant of your happiness in life is actually your primary romantic relationship, more so than money, more so than where you live, more so than what you do, more so even than your health. The number one determining factor of your happiness in your entire life is your primary romantic relationship. But in a society that values money and production, the biggest thing that derails women from making this a higher priority is that they're used to doing what the society tells them is the priority: work, produce, do for, all of these things. And what happens is that's actually the opposite of what you want to do to be able to attract in a quality relationship with a quality man. Because if you're overdoing in production and stuff like that, you're going to be drained, you're going to be depleted, you're going to be codependent with the guy, and you're not going to be attractive to a healthy man. And so changing that, understanding how it is that you might be like thinking, oh, I have to work more hours. Nobody's saying don't work, but that has to be the central organizing feature of my life. That is the first thing. The second thing is then when you decide I'd like to do something about it, most of the time what women and men, but let's just talk about women, what women are doing is saying, I'm going to invest as little as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to read a free blog article or get a book. I love books. Books are great, but it's a very low commitment, and only 1 out of 10 books ever get read to completion, and less than that actually ever get used. So I'm going to invest as little as possible. I'm going to talk to my girlfriend who's single and confused and frustrated just as me, and that's going to be the extent of my trying to accomplish this thing that is actually very important to me, but I'm almost afraid to say that it's important because there's this idea that if you focus on something that is of value to you, somehow you're being frivolous, somehow you're not being realistic, and nothing could be further from the truth. If your goal in life is to be happy, then your goal to find the right person for you, not just get a man, you could already get a man. The right person for you, that should be the highest or one of the top priorities in your life. If not for you, who are you being a role model for? Like Marni, you said for your daughters. Well, there's other young ladies that are looking up to you, even if you don't have children. Maybe you got a niece, and others that are looking up to you, and people around you, your neighbor, or whatever. And just for your own selfish reasons, because when you're 70, 80, 90 years old, you're not going to give a crap. I was about to curse. I don't know if I can.
You can curse in the den. Curse, Johnny.
You're not going to give a shit whether you had a bigger car or house or any of that stuff. In fact, on their deathbed, nobody says, my biggest regret is I wish I lived in a bigger house. They always talk about love and relationships. And so to make that a higher priority now is smart. Nobody thinks, in order to get my college degree, what I need to do is talk to my friend about going to college and then wish one day, maybe put it on my vision board, and then drive by the college, and then they'll throw a degree at me. Nobody thinks that. You have to bust your hump to get in, to graduate. If you're in postgraduate, like I'm a postgraduate degree and Lara's a postgraduate, so you got to bust your hump. You got to work on it. You got to make it a priority if that's what you want. So if having a relationship with a healthy man is what you want, and you've been wanting that for more than like a few weeks or months, that means that this is a priority that requires more time, more attention, more resources, more focus, more energy, because you're smart. Not because you're like, some people will think, oh, so I don't want to be desperate. Good, don't be desperate. If you're walking around clueless as to why you're dating those 15 guys rather than the 5 guys, that could be desperate. But if you're deciding, hey, I want to learn how to do something that I don't know how to do, and I want to go to an expert that will help me with that and make that a priority in my life, that's what smart people do. Right?
I love this. Basically, I love it. You just slapped them all like, wake up, woman. Because it's true. I love it. It's true.
And it's because this is what you deserve. That's the thing, that there's a sneaking voice inside of you that says, God, I've got this success. I've got that success. Am I being greedy to want to have love too? Or you keep thinking that it's the guy's fault. If you think it's the guy's fault, then you think the guy has all the power. And the reality is, in any relationship, the woman has more power than she usually even knows. My wife, Lara, makes me feel better as a man every day. Now, okay, some days we have bad days, we have arguments. I'm not saying that we don't have rough spots, but I'm more in love with her than I was back when we first got together. I feel more invincible, more able to bring my gifts to the world, to contribute, to be a father to our daughter, to do that, because she makes me feel amazing. And that is, our relationship goes as she goes. And so there's a lot of things that you don't want to stop just to get the man. So like taking care of yourself. The bottom line is, when you invest time, energy, resources, attention, and focus into taking care of yourself, learning about yourself, loving yourself, then that is something that you want to continue into your life, because that's going to help your relationship go better. And what most people do, like, we've been married 16 years. After 16 years, a lot of people, they barely talk to their spouse. They're just like roommates. And I'm so hot for my wife, I can't even wait to get off the phone here with you to go back with her. But that's a typical thing in our day, in our life. And you know how that is when you're with the right person, Marni. When you're with the right person, you're hot for them. You're excited to be with them. You're proud to be with them. And that's something that, whatever it is that you took to get the right person, you're going to keep that going if you change your priorities and allow yourself to just be honest. Like, actually being in love and being in love with the right person and having the right person love me, that actually matters to me a lot.
I am so happy that you're saying all this, because you just busted like 8 million limiting beliefs that strong, successful women have about really actually getting the help that they need to create that loving relationship. Because I always say to women, and I know this is really harsh, but it's true. Like, you're saying that, like, investing in that vacation to Aruba is more important than being buried alone.
Yeah,
because that's kind of what happens. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get practical. So, what describes a quality guy, right? And okay, so why do they already seem to be in a relationship? Why is that phenomenon going on, and what is a quality guy?
Sure. So there's two questions there.
Yep.
What is a quality guy? This is a man who has integrity, and integrity can mean a whole bunch of things, but one of the big things is he does what he says he's going to do, right? Integrity. And then he's masculine, but it's a safe masculine, right? So it's not like UFC fighter, nothing against UFC fighters, but not like beating your chest, smashing faces masculine, but just a masculine man. He likes to go get stuff. I mean, I'm sitting here in my office. I have a mug that says "Get shit done." That's like a masculine way of thinking of things. Lara looks at that and she's like, I would never have a mug like that. So a safe masculine, and then conscious and caring. So conscious, may mean that he meditates, may not mean that he meditates, may mean that he knows the affirmations that you know or may not know, but he's conscious. He's living his life where he's trying to do the right thing in his life, and he cares about you. So these are some of the qualities of a man of quality. We go into more. We actually interview quality men in a video series that we have called Men of Quality Do Exist. But which I know you're going to be sharing with people in the show notes if they want to get that. It's for a limited time. But that's the what is a man of quality.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me interrupt there about conscious, because I think this is like a big thing. Like I talk to women and they're like, I want a guy who's conscious, he's spiritual, and I'm wondering, when you said he is, he cares and he is self-aware, is that connected, in your opinion, to emotional intelligence? Like, is that consciousness? Because I think there's some quality guys that maybe don't even do affirmations.
Exactly. I agree with you. There are some quality guys that don't do affirmations. They don't talk about the universe or energy or stuff like that. I'll tell you a story about one of our clients, a woman who's just a badass in her own right, very successful, manager in a big Fortune 500 company, just doing really well, stuff like that. And so she worked with us and really started to uncover her beliefs about how she had been holding herself back from love, about how she had been, using a certain success formula for her work and her career, but hadn't used that success formula for her personal life. And anyway, long story short, she worked with us. She attracted this guy, and she was wondering, like, everything seems great, but he doesn't do any of this spiritual stuff. He doesn't, even call himself spiritual. And we said, well, let's talk about that. And let's talk about what is he about and what matters to him in his life. His whole life was a conscious, spiritual, caring life. He just didn't use certain language. So like, he was a single dad. So being a good example to his, I think it was a son, to his son, was very important to him. He was a coach, like a volunteer coach in a baseball league, because he really cared about young people and wanted to help build their spirit up. It's not that he cared that much about baseball, though he loved baseball. It was about helping. I mean, doesn't this sound like a conscious and spiritual person?
Well,
Yeah,
totally.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they're now happily married. She loves him. And, she exposes him to certain things, some things he's into, some things he's not, because he's like, I got to go coach the Little League, because he's living the thing. And so sometimes you're looking on the surface for certain indicators, and sometimes that's not really what you want. You don't want to know what classes they've done. You want to know how they're living their life.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay, so the tip here that I think what I hear you saying is that when you're looking at a quality man, conscious, we want to broaden the definition of consciousness so that it's self-aware, that it's caring, that it's emotional intelligence, that they're living their passion in a way that is integrous and kind. So I think that's
Absolutely.
a really important thing. Okay, so what else is in the list of what to look for a quality man, or what defines a quality man?
And also just in that list is that part about like doing what he say he's going to do.
Yes.
And so this is so important. And here's the thing that unfortunately women trip themselves up, is that they don't do what they say they're going to do.
Amen.
Like, if you're a woman who doesn't do what she says she's going to do, you're going to attract a man who will be on the same vibration. He won't do what he says he's going to do, because you don't do what you say you're going to do. So if you say you're going to, make this a priority this year, then you have to back that up with actions. And you have to back it up with actions that reflect an investment of time, energy, resources, and focus. I mean, just think about if a guy took you on a date and he just took you to the McDonald's close to your house. And so what does that mean? He didn't put forth a lot of thought. He didn't put forth money. And he's not really putting forth a lot of focus and intention about what would be a great experience. He's just doing the cheapest, easiest, low investment thing humanly possible. You're not going to feel valued in that relationship. You're not going to feel like you're important to that man. You're going to feel like you're an afterthought. You're going to feel like you're a low priority. And that, if you continue that dating relationship, there's no question that that's not going to go from that place to let's get married, have children, build a life. Why? Because he isn't invested in a high level. And so when you do that for yourself, when you say, okay, this is important to me, right? It's just like, I want to get fit. This is my thing this year. I want to get more fit and healthy. So I could talk about that. I could put it up on my vision board. I've done both of those things. Got pictures of guys all like worked out and stuff, buff and stuff like that. But then I've got to go and do the things. So I bought Pilates classes. I started up on my racquetball. I got a personal trainer. I'm going to see a naturopath to change the look at all of my supplements that I take. Whoa, that's a lot of time, right? Well, that's what someone does when they say something is a priority. And I'm here right now, and my legs are sore and all this stuff because I'm working out areas that are uncomfortable for me. And so you've got to be willing to be uncomfortable to be able to find that person who's outside of your view right now in terms of a man of quality. And this is not saying that you're not a woman of quality right now, you're not an awesome person. It's just that wherever the vibration that you're at, it's time to step up your focus on this particular area of your life and enhance your already wonderful life. So the other question you asked was, why do they always seem to be in a relationship? And that's just a very simple thing, because they're easier to spot because they're safe, they're off the market. So they're easier for you to see. But when they're single, all of your stuff is up, and that makes them invisible. That makes you see the 15 guys, not see the 5 guys in that example of the 20 people.
And also, I would add that when you are single and you're in that negative sort of space of like, why me and what's wrong with me and how come everyone else and, there's no good guys. Of course, you're collecting evidence that all the quality guys are taken, just so that you can kind of stay in your little sad, stuck story. That's just a PS from Marni in the den. By the way, Johnny, you know what? I'm so impressed because you are literally getting shit done. With all your thing. But what I heard you say was you have to be the person that you want to attract.
Yes.
Right? And so, I mean, I have had women that say, my rule is what I'm looking for is they have to be financially, a certain way, and they have to have no debt, and they have to have so much money in their 401k, and they have to have this, and they have to have that. And I'll just say, okay, so I'm just curious. Do you? And are you still an amazing, loving, conscious, and are you working on it? Are you, and so I think what I really hear you saying is, you want to look at these things that you're looking for and then make sure that you are in action of or in pursuit of those same values, goals, and ideals so you can raise your frequency and kind of start to see what's on the tip of your nose.
Absolutely. Yeah, your values and there's always going to be some area of your life that you haven't looked at and you think that doesn't have anything to do with your love relationship, but it does, because you're bringing your whole self. Well, you want to have someone see you and honor you and love you and cherish you. Well, then you've got to let him see you. And if you're trying to hide different parts of you, if you're feeling like you're busy beating yourself up about different things in your life, that's not going to be so attractive. And if you're busy numbing out through TV watching or going out all the time, or just, retail therapy shopping or
work.
Random work is a huge one.
Yep.
or sex or stuff like that. Then it's just not loving you enough to be able to spend time with you by yourself. And the other thing is, a lot of times women they have maybe one good girlfriend who they can really confide in, maybe that, but often nobody who really knows your hopes and dreams. And one of the things that we do when we work with women is there's a community that's created. And so one of the things I remember, one woman who became not the best man, the maid of honor at a couple of our clients, they get so close that they attend each other's weddings or maid of honors. And so in this particular one wedding, the maid of honor got to read something that she just created her own thing. So she got to read something and she said, I knew your hopes and dreams. I knew your heart before I even knew what you did for a living.
Oh.
And that kind of stuff, that kind of deep connection is important. And unfortunately, and all the research shows that the more interconnected we are, electronically, the more we crave, need, and unfortunately are missing in-person connections. And it's very important to be able to have an in-person connection with somebody, and then supplement with those other things, who knows your hopes and dreams. And you have work friends. You already have colleagues and stuff like that. What about someone who knows your deepest parts of your soul? These things are important. So community is really important. And I'm a bit of an education wonk. Before I started doing this. So anyway, total, I have 20 years in education, but for the first 10 years, I was in public school education, and I looked at how boys and girls, men and women, learn differently. And so we tailor all of our work to how women learn, because we work exclusively with women. And so going back to that idea of just the values in our society, we have a whole educational system that's designed for how men think and how men learn. And it's important, if something is of value to you, to look at it as, it's of value to me as a woman, and how am I going to learn about that? And that's important as well. And community is a part of it.
Okay. So with all the, there's, like you said, there's lots of tips and advice out there. Is there one you think that is missing that women should really know? Like, if we were going to be very specific.
So the one thing is that the men, I'm just going to speak to you as a man. I talk to men. I've been a single man. I still talk to single men and married men. Is that the idea that men are not looking for this? Quality, healthy men who are grown men, not like 20-year-old boys. I mean, right. Grown men. They're looking for you. They're right. looking for this relationship. They're looking for what it is that you want. They're looking for that. And it's just like, one person is zigging and the other person is zagging, and men put a high value on relationship. It just looks and sounds different than what women put a high value. So like what I share with people, I with our clients, we share the masculine and the feminine side. But the thing you need to know is that men of quality, not only do they exist, they're searching. Like whatever age you are, 35, there's a 35-year-old guy who's your dream man who's looking for you. The question is, are you sitting back doing as little as possible to try to find him, attract him, be with him? Or are you thinking, this is actually important to me, just as important as my college degree was, just as important as getting that promotion at work was. This is important to me, so I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to make it important, and I'm going to be successful not because it's like a thing to claim, like a trophy to get, but just because you deserve a good life.
Yeah, with the right guy.
Life.
Totally.
Yeah.
Someone, I can't remember who it was, but I interviewed someone, and they had said their client said finding a quality man was like finding a needle in a haystack. And I can't remember who it was. And he said, great, then be the biggest pincushion ever, right? So so that the needle can like have a direct, just, so I like that as a woman with a juicy booty. I'm just a nice old big pincushion for that needle.
I love that. That's Lara too. I'm like, yeah, now you got me thinking more about my wife. Okay.
That's so funny. Juicy booty. Okay.
Right.
Last question. Maybe you already answered this. I don't know. Is there anything that frustrates you the most in what you do in working with women? Wait, you know what frustrates me, and then you can answer, because I'm just curious. I feel like I was a teacher too, by the way.
Oh yeah. All right. I didn't even know that. I knew you were a teacher, but I didn't know what you were teaching.
I was teaching in the schools. I also was got my master's in education, and so we have so much in common. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what frustrates me most is women who don't want to do the work because they're afraid that they've already done the work and it didn't work. It didn't get the result. So they've just decided, why bother? They're afraid to go to the next level because they're afraid of being disappointed. So what's yours?
It's going to be very similar. It's really the idea that it's like you want the thing. Look, I've spent years wanting to be in better shape and wishing and talking to people about it and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I have to look at, do I want to be old, unhealthy, and a burden to myself, my wife, and my daughter? We have one daughter between us. So if we get old and we can't take care of ourselves, she's got to take care of us. And do we want to really burden her just because we were too lazy? Well, it's the same type of thing. Like, just because you've wanted it and just because you've done stuff, if you haven't gotten where you want to go, then there's simply more to learn, more to do. And unfortunately, what a lot of people do is they half-ass it, and they keep saying, I'm doing it, but they're really half-assing it. And then they keep getting half-ass results. And that could go on literally for the rest of your life.
Totally. You know, my husband and I are doing this thing this year, so we did our vision like at the beginning of the year, like, so many people do. We wrote it out.
Sure.
Anyway, we're having weekly meetings. We're having like digital free Sunday. We're having these weekly meetings, and we're like looking at what worked and what didn't work, and how does that connect to our vision. And so what I can say is, to address that, is that, you know, accountability, right, to yourself, to a coach, to a community, whatever it is that are your actions every day adding up to lead you into the direction of your vision? Because the only person who really gives a shit about your vision is you. No one else. They will like love you and they will support you. And Lara wants you to be fit, but she ain't gonna give a shit as much as you are, right? Because she'll just be like, you know what, honey, just have a bite of cake tonight. Like, it's right, because she loves you.
Yeah.
So we have to be responsible for our vision, and doing this as a priority and having that accountability is how you reach the end result. So I think that you have been so damn inspiring. I'm gonna go have like a green smoothie and toast you, Johnny.
Right on. I love that. Thank you. Actually, it's funny. We're doing a similar thing to what you and your husband are doing, in terms of like looking at our vision for a year and then checking in and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just like, you know, like just something that you did on New Year's Eve, and then you go back on the next New Year's Eve and you go, yeah, I did that. That's cool. Oh, I forgot about that one. So ladies, be intentional in your vision through your action. Be the person that you want to attract. That is really such a powerful message. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being in the den with me today. Make sure you click on those show notes and go check out Johnny and Lara. And whatever you do, date with dignity. Love you all. Bye-bye.